Today is the first anniversary of Bleach Rebirth of Souls, a birthday that is being celebrated by absolutely no one. The last DLC and patch were over 3 months ago. There's no promise of a season 2 so far, and the Steam numbers are hitting all-time lows. With all of that put together, you'd be forgiven for thinking this game is completely dead. But as usual, the Steam numbers don't tell the whole story. Not only are anime games more popular on PlayStation, this game in particular launched completely broken on PC, instantly burning that entire player base. And since you can't trust anyone on social media these days because they'll either shill for the game they love or say the game is dead without even playing it, I decided to find out for myself whether this game is dead or alive by queuing up to play every single day this week. I played over 100 matches while taking notes of who my opponents were, how long I waited in queue, and how good was the connection during that match. I then feed all of that data into a formula that looks like this so we can see how this game's vitals are actually looking like.
Good morning. It's Monday, March 9, 2026, first day of the experiment. Let's queue up.
Here's how this is gonna work. I'm playing the game 3 times a day. During each period, I'm playing 5 matches. And these are the opponents I played against during this morning. You can see how long I waited in queue to find them, as well as the match quality, and I'll talk about all of that for sure, but for now, you're probably wondering why some names are in red. Well, it's pretty simple. That is a repeated player. Naruto69-1 was my second overall opponent, which means that when I found him again on match 4 and 5, he's a repeated player, meaning out of the 5 matches, only 3 were against unique opponents. And that's gonna hurt the game's health quite a bit, bringing it to about this level. And that's because even if the queue times are good and the connections are perfect, if you keep running into the same players, then maybe the game isn't that healthy anymore. And this wasn't me rematching any of these opponents. In fact, that was a rule that I set for myself.
I hate doing this, but the science will benefit from it. For the whole week, one and done. No rematches.
After going back to the lobby, I wait for about 3 minutes to avoid running into the same player again if they are queuing up. If the game had rematch avoidance, I wouldn't have to do this, but this is anime games we're talking about. And after that cooldown period, I queue up again, and that is pretty much the method to the science here. During the afternoon, queue times went up quite a bit. In fact, this Xyloporo gave us the longest queue time record so far. And I would be mad at that if the very next match wasn't a record for the fastest queue yet. And then came the nighttime when the Wi-Fi warriors came out. One of them was an Unohana player, which how do you play Unohana on Wi-Fi? I don't know. Bro must love losing or something. But that pretty much closed day 1. This is my win-loss ratio for the day. That's not important for the science. That's just for me. Here's what the health of the game is looking like. It sure recovered since the morning when the lack of opponent variety was a problem. But we ended up finding 12 different people in 15 different matches, which is awesome. Even if the match quality decreased a little bit by the end of the day.
That's day 1 of the experiment. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I didn't sleep well at all. My kid kicked my ribs all night long. I have a huge migraine. My head really hurts. Don't really feel like playing the video game right now. But the science must go on. I have the hardest job in the world.
Queue times were all over the place this morning. 2 minutes, then 38 seconds, then a long 3-minute 44. This morning has not been great overall for queue times. Now, full disclosure, this may be partially my fault, as I'm not accepting the first opponent that I find in queue. I think most players start by looking for green bars before giving up and settling for anything that comes their way, and so I came up with a method to emulate that. For the first minute of waiting in queue, I only accept green bars. For the second minute, I accept yellows, and after 2 minutes, I will accept anything. And while this might make queue times worse, I believe it will increase the match quality scores overall. But sometimes it also feels like the game just keeps giving you the same person over and over, no matter how many times you say no. It takes a while for matchmaking to just move on from this pairing. The afternoon matches gave this game a huge boost to its health. 5 matches, 5 unique opponents, low queue times in general, only 1 queue was above average, good overall quality scores. This afternoon was great. And then came the nighttime and the Wi-Fi warriors returned. This was my first 1-star quality match. It was yellow bars when I accepted it, by the way, and the game thought, you know what, playing 1 match isn't enough, you guys should play again. Thanks for that. And probably because of this, match quality dropped a little bit here at the end of day 2, but queue times and unique players got better, so the game's health stayed roughly in the same place it was before. Still looking really healthy.
I'm gonna be very honest, when I started this, I did not expect this game to be this healthy. I thought that meter was gonna be like in the middle. I didn't expect Bleach to be dead, but I'm getting low queue times, good quality matches, a ton of unique opponents. Bro, who the hell thought this game was dead? Welcome to day 3. I'm feeling great today. I'm just back from my morning run, which I didn't have to tell you about, but I wanted to brag about my healthy lifestyle. But still not as healthy as this game, because holy hell, Bleach is killing it right now.
And guess what? Xbox and Steam could be just as healthy as this if only we had crossplay. This could be everyone's player base, Bandai. Instead, we just got 2 dead platforms. Well, maybe. I actually don't know much about the Xbox. But now it feels like a good time to tell you about the match quality scores. You probably noticed by now that I'm giving it a 1 to 5-star score on each match. These first 3 opponents got the perfect score. There weren't any stutters, no noticeable delay, it was just perfect matches. If I can feel the delay or the game stutters a little bit, like in Wi-Fi, I can take 1 or 2 points away depending on how bad it is. And this Kenpachi player just had both. It was super delayed, and as you can see, very stuttery. This Renji, however, had no delay, but the Wi-Fi stutters were also very noticeable, and they happened during the entire match, so I take 2 stars away from the overall score, leaving it with 3 stars. This is also why I picked Unohana, by the way. I'm not just a fan of the character. She's also got some routes that are very easy to drop if there's any lag, so it's very easy for me to detect if there's delay or if there are stutters or anything. Also, this is my first morning with a 100% win rate. I'm actually on a 10 win streak right now, so let's see how far I can push it. This afternoon was the first. This Stark player was the first time we found a repeated player from a different time period. The longer this experiment goes, the more likely it is for this to happen. So the unique opponent's meter may start dropping all of a sudden. The win streak continues though, not only against him, but against this Aizen too. Then we got the same opponent twice. They did switch characters, but didn't switch from a Wi-Fi to cable, unfortunately. And then you probably recognize this name. I have played him 3 times during the first morning. What you don't know is that I actually lost all 3 games. But now, I was locked in. I was playing every day. This wasn't day 1 anymore. I wasn't rusty. This was peak Globku. I lost again. And he broke my win streak.
This was almost the perfect night. 5-star connections all across the board. All queue times were below average. The one thing keeping it from being perfect is that we found the same player twice. The longer this goes, the more likely it is that we'll run into people we've already played against. Because we're not even halfway through this experiment and we're already fighting people that we fought in previous days. But I'll keep playing and I'll let the science speak for itself. Now, I do have an interesting night ahead of me because Demon Slayer 2 has DLC, which means I'm probably not even going to go to bed before the morning session. Playing without sleep is going to be fun. It's not going to affect the science, but it might affect my win-loss ratio. I'm getting way too old for this.
I thought mornings were gonna be kinda dead, but overall, they've been really good for the game's health. The best period has clearly been nighttime so far, but the worst one was actually afternoons for some reason. I see why. This was the worst connection I have had so far. I'm not kidding when I say this guy should be on a list. It is criminal to play like this. I did face an insanely good Zalaporo. Shout out to this guy. And here we go again. It is the 5th time we have found him. Our record is 0-4 so far. No one would bet on the big G at this point. But you know what? We actually won it. We won by timeout. Even the game couldn't believe it. Look at it freaking out. Nighttime wasn't great for unique players either. This guy was playing Hitsugaya before. He was actually the only Hitsugaya we ran into the entire week. So it's kind of sad that he switched to Aizen. I played him twice in a row, and that wrapped up day 4. Health dropped a little bit, mostly because of the unique players dropping. Still healthy, but I do fear this will only get worse as days go by. We have now played against 47 different players in total, and if any of those names show up again, it lowers the unique player count immediately.
While I am finding repeated players more often, I'm still finding more unique players than repeated ones. So even though my theory was correct, the game does keep getting healthier, or maybe the score isn't going up, but it's getting more solidified there in the healthy place. Now, I should also try to be healthy, because after the day I've had, I should definitely try to get some sleep. Good night.
I have shaved. And I'm not talking about my face. I also shaved my reputation by running into this Kira, who hit me with a character's gimmick a year later, and I'm still getting knowledge checked by Kiras. Honestly, I don't think that's gonna change until the day I stop playing Bleach. The Orwellian Gamer was an old Kiara that we played in day 2. We went down to the very last hit. It was a really cool match. But then we ran into each other again, and this time it was just unplayable. So yeah, even the same opponent can just have wildly different match scores. Then we got the only Tozen of the week. Congrats to Tiny Manu for the unique pick. And I can't believe it took us this long, but this is actually the first Byakuya I ran into. Day 5. crazy. In fact, this whole day was a day for first-time characters. This afternoon was the first time we ran into a Kyoraku. Other than that, the afternoon stats were mid as always. And at night, stats are incredible as usual. And we even ran into the only Yoruichi of the entire experiment. I can't believe there was only one, but I didn't find another at all. Game's health improved very slightly. Turns out we are still finding a lot of unique players, not many repeats, and this is actually the final result of the week.
A full week of playing Bleach every single day, and no matter how many times it looks like the health is gonna drop, it always manages to recover by the end. So one can only wonder if the weekend is gonna improve the health even more, because there should be more people playing. At the same time, I don't know if the match quality is gonna stay that high. Gaming on a Saturday morning. I feel like I'm 14 years old again, waking up early before my parents so I could watch cartoons.
If the game was already alive during the week, you're probably thinking it's only gonna get better during the weekend, right? Well, you are dead wrong on almost every metric, but mostly match quality. Games were so bad this morning. I'm not even sure if this guy's problem was connection, maybe it's just a stage he picked, but hey, that's not a good quality match, so I still gotta give it 3 stars. Afternoon was even worse, starting things off with a new record for the longest queue.
Get out of the way!
Plus, it was a repeat opponent, and the match had a ton of delay. The only match that had 5-star quality was the very last one. I was so happy to finally play without any delay, and he rage quit. Actually, that's a good stat too. This was our first rage quit. We went the entire week without a single one. First day of the weekend, someone quits. The weekend really brings out the best players, doesn't it? Nighttime, we start with another rage quit. Beautiful, I love it here. Match quality actually started pretty good before it took a complete nosedive. Unplayable Unohana into Wi-Fi Yuhavaha, and the last opponent actually felt solid. He was AFK, but the connection was really good. Until they actually started playing, then it became like this. This day sucked. It was the worst performing day by far. This is what this day looks like if I forget about the rest of the week. And yet, even though I hated it, because we got 93% unique players and the average queue time was only 2.5 minutes, the game would still very much be alive.
Today was so incredibly bad. If this was the experience every day with Bleach Online, I would not want to queue up ever. Like, I expected the match quality to drop, but not this much. Dude, I hope this was a Saturday thing, because I don't want to go through this tomorrow again. Final day. Let's do this.
I was ready for a really awful day, but Sunday morning was great. Unique opponents, queues under 2 minutes, 4 and 5-star matches. What a breath of fresh air compared to Saturday. The afternoon was also going perfect, then I ran into Matzi. We played against each other on Thursday, and bro did not fix his Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi so bad we even lost some sound effects. iShocks is also a repeat Wi-Fi player, but it ended pretty good with the Komamura. Also, those queue times are godlike. Speaking of Komamura, nighttime kicked off against another Komamura player. I found 0 Komamuras during the week, and this is the 3rd Komamura player during the weekend. And you know what? For as bad as the match quality has been, Komamura quality scores are always high. He did give up at the end of the match though. Zalaporo was next. He also just straight gave up at the end of the match. This one sent me some DMs though. Let me check. Fix the connection. Yeah, it's completely unplayable. Good game. All my combos dropped. Nice try, buddy. That's not dropping combos. That's smashing on wake up. 5-star match. You want to see what an unplayable match looks like? Check out this Onohana. This is something you can complain about, Mr. Skill Issue. But we did get the perfect finish. Great queue time, perfect connection, and the perfect finish coming down to the final hit. Even the Aizen pick was also clutch. I've been recording which characters players pick, not counting duplicate players, and we had Yuhabaha and Aizen tied for first place during most of this experiment. This final pick actually pushed them to the #1 spot, solidifying this as the top 3 most picked characters during my experiment. While we're at it, these are the characters that were only picked once, and these characters, I did not see them at all the entire week. So if you're trying to pick someone unique, maybe try one of these. But that brings us to the end of the weekend, and this is the health result. Not as healthy as the week, that's for sure, but if we combine the two, we get the final health score for Bleach Rebirth of Souls. 1 year after release, I'd say it's still very much alive. Now, obviously, the final score is based on a formula that I created, but I promise you, this formula is trying to destroy this game's score. It takes the lowest of the 3 stats and makes that the heaviest factor in the function. That said, even if you don't trust the final score, you can trust the scores below it. And no matter how you look at it, a game where it takes on average less than 2 minutes to find an opponent, you have an 82% chance of finding someone brand new every time, and the match quality is on average a 4 out of 5, is a game that is alive no matter how you look at it. Here's another fun metric. My win-loss ratio was much higher during the nighttime. So if you're trying to rank up, that's probably the best time to queue up. Mornings were the worst, but maybe that's less about my opponents being stronger and more about me being bad during mornings. But now that it was over, I could finally do what I've been wanting to all week long. I could hit the rematch button and play the full set. How funny would it be if they quit now? Thanks for watching this video. If you got any anime games you'd like to see this research done for, let me know which in the comments down below. I wish PlayStation would just publish their player numbers like Steam does, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But hey, if you want to revive this game on PC, the easiest way to do it is crossplay. Look at all the games I played. This could be everyone on every platform. Anyway, thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.